sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Take care of your stuff.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble!
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the Iowa Speedway, where tonight it is time for our 9th race of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. It is the American Ethanol 400. For the first time ever in WRLA Pepsi Cup Series history, we come here to the Iowa Speedway, but if you've been here for a very long time, you would know that this is the first time that we're ever hosting a race at Iowa Speedway in 10 whole years. That's right, you heard that correctly, 10 whole years. The last time that we had a race here at the Iowa Speedway was during the WRLA McDonald's Cup Series days, the very early days, all the way back in season 1. The 50 lapper, of course, was nothing short of chaotic. We had multiple wrecks left and right. Everybody was just driving like it was the last lap. But it came down to Daniel Voiles and Kevin Gandara to fight it out for the final few laps that were ran under green. And at the end of it all, it was Kevin Gandara that drove his number 61 Dodge Charger to victory lane here at the Iowa Speedway. But here we are 10 years later. We're going WRLA Pepsi Cup Series racing here at the Iowa Speedway for 125 laps. Another thing to add on here is that our last week's winner, Travis Crampton, is not a part of this race. Unfortunately, he failed to qualify for the show, so he will have to get saddled up for North Wilkesboro next weekend. So hopefully we'll be able to see Travis back over at that racetrack, and maybe he might be able to win in back-to-back races that he's competed in, not much less of back-to-back races overall. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, just in case if you missed it last week at Talladega, of course, it was Travis Crampton that drove to victory lane at Talladega Super Speedway. We had a lot of lead changes, a lot of smart racing. Didn't really see much of a big one, but we only had one caution about halfway through the race. But other than that, we probably had one of the cleaner Talladega races that we've had pretty much ever in the history of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series racing. I'd say definitely cleaner than what we had in 2017, and definitely cleaner than what we had 2 years ago, 2020 and 2025. We've had some pretty clean Talladega races. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, with the month of May summer shootout point system that we have, it did shake up the point standings a good amount. So let's go ahead and take a look at those point standings. With the 20 bonus points that would have been rewarded to Travis Crampton for winning, those points instead go to the highest finishing full-time driver, that being Kyle Craven, who finished second last week. So he takes the points lead over Zachary Fitzwater. It's a 9-point cushion over him. Russell Blaze in the 3rd spot. Take a look down here on the next page of your point standings. There's Wyatt Walker, currently 12th in the standings. You see Andrew Miller right there, actually. He ended up having a great day at Talladega last week. So he winds up inside of the top 20 in the point standings. The point system that we're currently running in the month of May is very, very, very beneficial for a lot of the drivers that are at the bottom of the point standings. CCG Holt there in the 17. He does start on pole for this race, so a great night for him. would mean that he could find himself maybe somewhere inside of the top 10 of the point standings if he's able to garner up enough points. And then, of course, right here, take a look at the bottom of the points ladder. You see Reagan Whitlock down here. She's going to be starting up towards the front of the field for this race. Alex Bonsignor finds himself dead last in the point standings, obviously because of a Microsoft Excel or a Google Sheets physics tiebreaker. But ladies and gentlemen, though, it is going to be a very fun night here at the Iowa Speedway. I mean, there's so much to really look forward to. It is the 9th race of the season here for WRLA competition. And I'd like to be, like I said, to be quite honest, I think this is going to be a very fun night. There's really not much else to really say. Other than, I mean, Iowa is definitely going to provide that type of challenge. Similar to this racetrack is similar to what we have over at Richmond Raceway in a way. But definitely for sure, it is going to provide some really good action. And we definitely saw that in qualifying earlier today. If you were watching over on YouTube or right around the afternoon time, lots of drivers that were trading positions faster than what they were trading Pokemon cards with, which eventually did see Walker Family Motorsports bring a lot to the table here, especially with 3 of their cars with a clean front row sweep here at the Iowa Speedway. You see a little bit further back there, Terry Walker is going to be starting 8th in this race. As you take a look at your starting lineup, as I mentioned, Reagan Whitlock starting in the 4th position. She's 35th in the point standing. Sebastian Vaughn is 33rd, I do believe, but definitely at the very, very bottom end of the points bracket. Definitely in need of a good run here today. There's Bobby McGuire in the number 3 machine. Could have made Talladega last week, but unfortunately got knocked out by other drivers that were definitely drafting, that were hardcore drafting at Talladega last week. But now he's in this race for this week. Janiah Hill has made the show as well. So this is the first time that McGuire Enterprises has both cars in the field. There's Nia Steidel in the number 6, currently 6th in the point standings. Going to be starting towards the back end of the field. A lot of our front runners in the points are starting back here. Zachary Fitzwater, 2nd in points. Russell Blaze, 3rd in the standings. They're going to be starting towards the back end of the field. They're going to have a lot of their work cut out for them here in this race. There's Janiah Hill in the number 7, currently starting in the 37th position. Claire Phillips, the struggles do continue in qualifying. Same goes for Andrew Miller. Alex Bonsignor are going to be starting back here. Jordan Sumner making her first start since Rockingham. And then our provisional starters, you're going to see him right here. That is Nathan Stapleton in the 97, who ended up getting a great run at Talladega last week. And then Quentin Moore will be rounding out the field in the caboose, the 42nd starting position. Well, ladies and gentlemen, though, it has been a very action-packed weekend. For the first time in 10 years, we're going to be broadcasting a race here at the Iowa Speedway. And I can't wait, man. This is going to be very exciting. So many mysteries coming into this race because we did qualifying during the daytime, but now we're going to be racing under the lights here at the Iowa Speedway. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and get the show on the road? Drivers strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 42 cars rolling on the racetrack, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off, and so are these 42 competitors. Make sure everybody's rolling on the racetrack, and that appears to be the case. Walker Family Motorsports is going to be the team to look out for. They brought a lot of they brought pretty much all 4 of their cars have been really fast in qualifying, but now it's time to see what they're made of here during race trim. 125 laps around the Iowa Speedway. CG Holt and Abby Walker on the front row. Then it's Ryan Little and Reagan Whitlock a duo of Toyotas and Chevrolets making up the first two rows, and Chase McClure completes the top 5. Pace car is off, and the field is put in the hands of C.G. Holt and Abby Walker to lead the field of the green, and we're racing here in Iowa. Ryan Little already wasting no time getting to the inside of the 17 of C.G. Holt, and he will lead the first lap of action. 5 bonus points towards the championship for Ryan Little, executing fairly easily. Chase McClure moving up into the second position. Meanwhile, 3 wide. That's Bobby McGuire making a run to the inside of Reagan Whitlock, who, remember, started 4th in this race and is already falling back. C.G. Holt pounds the wall coming off of turn number 4, and he's going to lose a lot of ground here. He got kicked from 2nd all the way back to 7th and is going to lose even more ground here once they cross the start-finish line this time around. It is Ryan Little who leads the charge still. Then running in 2nd, that is Chase McClure. Tanner Parton holding on in 3rd. Bobby McGuire, after starting in 11th, he has climbed his way up to 4th within the first 3 laps of this race. Little bit of contact over here between Abby Walker and Reagan Whitlock as they came off of turn number 2, but we keep it clean and green, at least for the most part. Another thing a lot of these drivers are going to have to look out for is you don't want to get too high on the front straightaway, kind of like what Reagan Whitlock just did. If you barely noticed it, she just got too high, and then obviously she just scraped the outside wall, which obviously when you do that, you scrub off a lot of speed. So that's definitely something that Reagan Whitlock is going to have to be careful of. And Eric Monaco just did the same thing, except hitting the outside wall. Noah Clifton on pit road in the 99 machine. So might have cut down a tire for Noah Clifton, and there's Nia Seidel in the number 6, wasting 0 time whatsoever. This is shades of Rockingham, if you know what I mean. She started towards the back end of the field and is already forcing, trouble in the back. That's Stephen Colon around. Colon around on the front straightaway. He collects the 34 of Alexander Rowe. Heavy damage to the front end of the 34. There's Sebastian Vaughn in the 54. Lots of moderate damage to the left side and the rear end of his race car. Caution comes out here on lap number 8. And that race was won by the 52 of Chase McClure right at the stripe. Already stacking up here. And that's definitely not something that you want. Speaking of, Terry Walker with a lot of rear end damage to his race machine. More than likely might have been a victim of a stack-up effect that happened on the cool-down lap. Alexander Rowe in the number 34 takes a very damaged and wounded Boy Scouts of America Ford Mustang to pit road, and he's going to call it a day here at Iowa. His race ends early. Noah Clifton coming back out on the racetrack and is going to be 2 laps down. But Alexander Rowe done for the day. You saw him on the left-hand side of your screen just a little bit ago. Bring his car to pit road. There's Eric Monaco, who wound up hitting the outside wall in turn number 4 just a little bit ago as well, bringing his Chevrolet to pit road. So another thing to really look out for is as these drivers do scrape that outside wall, you do raise the risk of cutting down your a right front tire, or any tire on the right hand side. So that's definitely also going to be something to look out for here in this race. But first caution of the night is out here on lap number 8. It flew on lap number 8. Let's go back and look at what happened to Stephen Colon that brought out our first caution of the race. And how ironic. A Cologne Motorsports car is leading the field, and a Cologne Motorsports car just got caught up in a wreck. Unfortunately, it was at the hands of Stephen Colon himself. So as you see right here, Monaco slides up just a little bit, and this is what's going to caused the 31 of Eric Monaco. He slides up the track, as does the 25 of Stephen Colon. A lot of these drivers are going to be coming off at turn 4 a little bit harder than what they normally would, or more than what they'd want, and this is going to be the result. Colon bounces off of the 31 of Monaco, and that's what sends him around. Everybody else trying to take evasive action. Alexander Rowe gets into the 54. There's where he got his damage. CG Halt was involved in this one, and this is where Terry Walker wound up getting his damage. So 2 of the Walker family motorsports cars got caught up in this one very, very early. But the good news is both of these drivers are able to continue nonetheless. But aerodynamics, another good thing though is that aerodynamics are not really going to mean too much. So fingers crossed they are going to be able to get back into contention to get themselves a good finish. Either that or maybe win. I mean, it all just depends. But let's go ahead and take a look at Alexander Rowe's perspective. We're going to follow along with him because he wound up getting blindsided from this. Because look, wreck happens right there in front of him. There's all the smoke. He tries to cut down, but the 54 is there. And that was just very, very unfortunate timing for Sebastian Vaughn to come down, because had that not happened, Alexander Rowe would have made it through and he would have been able to live to fight another day. But unfortunately, his night ends early here at the Iowa Speedway. And so far, from what I can only imagine, he is the only retiree here in this race, which that in and of itself is rather unfortunate, and definitely adds a lot of insult to injury to be the first retiree of the race. But there are going to be at least 3 cars 1 lap down or more. That would be Sebastian Vaughn in the 54, the 95 of Bruno Di Giacomo, and the 99 of Noah Clifton, who spent 2 laps on pit road. But as of right now, your top 10 is going to go as follows here, as they are going to be probably getting 1 to go next time around. It is Chase McClure, who is the race leader. Then running in second, that is Ryan Little. Bobby McGuire sitting in the 3rd spot, followed by Tanner Parton, who is 4th. Wayne Lopez rounds out the top 5. Then it's Valkyrie Atikian in the 6th position. Running in 7th, that is our new points leader coming into this race, Kyle Craven. Then Skylar Taylor sits 8th, Wyatt Walker 9th, and Ray Atikian rounds out the top 10. How about this, though? We not only have both McGuire Enterprise cars in the field, but we also have both Trinity River Racing cars in the field as well. There's Nia Steidel, who we were talking about just a little bit ago before the caution came out. I was getting ready to mention that this is shades of Rockingham here for Nia Steidel, because remember, in that race, she started towards the back end of the field, and then she just started muscling her way up towards the front end of the pack, and she wound up getting a top 10 from that. So one of the hottest drivers in WRLA competition right now, back-to-back wins, managed to catapult herself inside of the top 10 in the point standings because of it. Looking to try to replicate the similar success that she had at Rockingham just a few months back. We just got 1 to go, by the way, so we are getting ready to go back under the green flag here. So far, the only driver that is lined up on the inside, that is Bruno Di Giacomo in the 95. Sebastian Vaughn and Noah Clifton are making their way out as we currently speak. Getting ready to restart here on lap number 12. It is Chase McClure who leads the charge, trying to deliver a 2nd win in a row for part-timers, as pace car is off and Chase McClure brings them to green and gets actually a really good jump on Ryan Little as they race back into turn number 1. The disadvantage for McClure, however, is that he's not going to have the preferred line. Here comes Ryan Little to put the 95 in the middle as he's going for the race lead. That's Ryan Little. Down on the inside, McClure gets into the wall. He's going to lose some speed. Little's going to take the race lead, and here comes Bobby McGuire in the 3. Almost making it 3 wide as they came off of turn number 2. And now here's McGuire down to the inside, to try to take the top position away as they come off of turn number 4. He's just barely going to lead that lap, I believe. No, he didn't. Ryan Little just barely led it by 1/100th of a second, but he's not going to have the lead this time around. New race leader, it's Bobby McGuire in the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. Completely clear of all traffic. Ryan Little trying to hold on the outside line, but he's going to have to give up that second position to Tanner Parton, his teammate. And look at this, new players coming up to try to knock on the door of the top 5. There's Valkyrie Atiki and there's Wyatt Walker in the 19. Caution out yet again. And that's runner-up Zachary Fitzwater, who got caught up in this melee. McGuire's going to lead him back to the caution flag. And this looks like this was a pretty decent size wreck in turn number 1. I think it just was only Zachary Fitzwater. A caution out for the second time tonight, flying on lap number 16. And again, it was Bobby McGuire that led him back to the caution flag. I will definitely say, I mean, this is kind of shades of what happened in 2015 in the NRLA McDonald's Cup Series race here, just some 10 years ago. Where this race, where that race just got very, very chaotic, but the only difference is we didn't get as much racing in the early parts of the event. Reagan Whitlock also has a little bit of damage to the right side of her race machine. So both drivers, they are going to be making their way onto pit road, maybe to get some tires on those race cars, but it is Bobby McGuire who leads the race here early in the going. Managed to grab the lead away right around, I want to say lap 14, lap 15, but let's go back and review what happened to Zachary Fitzwater that brought out caution flag number 2, and it was a 3-car pileup going into turn 1. Actually, wait just a minute. Now this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. Watch this. We're gonna follow along with Zachary Fitzwater here. So everybody starts sliding around. Sebastian Vaughn slides up just enough where it opens up the door to some 4-wide action here at Iowa. Something you don't see very often. 98-54 get together. They bounce down into the 04 of Quentin Moore, who bounces down into Reagan Whitlock. Sebastian Vaughn, very wise to back off in this scenario because it gets very ugly here. Moore gets squeezed up into Zachary Fitzwater by Reagan Whitlock, and all 3 of those cars pile up into turn number 1, all 3 right up against the wall. But thankfully, this was just a 3-car incident, but Zachary Fitzwater, the troubles are continuing to show here for the 98 team. A lot of the great runs that they've been having to start off the season, especially holding on to that points lead that all may be coming to a head here as we have crossed over into the month of May. Didn't have himself a great finish at Talladega. And early in this one, getting involved in a few scuffles here. We're going to look at this in real time, but that's just a sight to see. 4 wide at Iowa. It worked for about 2 seconds, and then this wound up happening. But thankfully, all 3 cars are able to continue in this one. But it involved runner-up Zachary Fitzwater in the 98 machine. Quentin Moore, whom also is in the top 10 in the point standings. This is not something that he would have needed whatsoever. And he's going to be starting towards... He's going to be starting towards the back end of this one. But we did also just get 1 to go. So race leader, it is Bobby McGuire in the number 3 machine, then running in second. That is Tanner Parton. McClure is third, then Ryan Little fourth. Valkyrie Atiki completes the top 5. Then it's Wyatt Walker, Abby Walker, Nia Steidel, Claire Phillips showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight. And Kyle Craven, new points leader, restarting in 10th. Green flag back in the air. McGuire gets a good jump, but as does Parton, McClure, Little, and Atikian. As now here comes Parton down to the inside, heading down the back straightaway into turn 3. Man, if you are the race leader with so few cars that are lined up on the inside that are 1 lap down or more, that has to be a huge, huge disadvantage. But Tanner Parton manages to grab the lead away from McGuire. McGuire knows that he has to back off in order to just save his tires because he knows he has to save his stuff. This is a long race, 125 laps, so you got to save up your tires and live to fight another day. At least do the best you can here. But Parton, how about this for Vision Motorsports? Vision Motorsports currently 1-2 as of right now. Valkyrie Atikian knocking on the door in the 23 machine, trying to get her second win of the season. She wound up winning at COTA over in Austin, Texas. Now trying to get her second win, her second career WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win. McGuire to the inside to try to take over second. And look who's coming in the picture. That's Claire Phillips. That's Nia Steidel. Trying to knock on the door of the top 5, but Phillips is right there to answer the call as they head back into the first corner. Wyatt Walker, again, still in the picture, trying to turn his season around. Even though he is running really good in the point standings, he would definitely like to have some better results. More importantly, he'd like to win one of these races because he knows that would definitely boost his confidence. Not only that, that would definitely lift a lot of weight off of his shoulders because he had been wanting to win a WRLA Pepsi Cup Series race so badly. At this rate, he'd be willing to do anything to win a race. I'll tell you somebody who's more willing than him to win a WRLA Pepsi Cup Series race. That's Nathan Stapleton in the 97. He just barely got himself inside of the top 30 in the point standings, but he has just had himself an abysmal season this year. He's wound up winning at Martinsville in 2017. He won a fuel mileage race at Fontana in 2020, but trying to go for his third WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win. If he does that, he'll tie Emmanuel Hartnett. He'll tie with Emmanuel Hartnett for the most wins in WRLA history. But Stapleton running very, very, very well right now, just inside of the top 10, trying to fight hard to take 6th away from Chase McClure, who's holding on the outside line. There's Andrew Miller in the 96, another driver who is getting his season turned around. He's 19th in the point standings. And right now, I'd definitely say he's doing a very nice job here in this event. Janiyah Hill, we saw her just a little bit ago. She was inside of the top 10, but now being trapped up on the outside. She's going to fall out of the top 10 and fall back to the 14th position. Meanwhile, a little bit further up in the front of the field, here's another driver that we haven't really talked too much about all season, unless if they got caught up in a wreck. That's Jerry Rose in the 00. Jerry's having himself a good night tonight. Right now, running inside of the top 10 in the 10th position. Comes into this race just below the top 30 in the point standings, but definitely trying to look to get his season turned around. So, attaboy Jerry for Lightstar Racing Co. Right now running inside of the top 10. Claire Phillips, another driver, getting a really good run here tonight, as we mentioned a little bit ago, going for third on Bobby McGuire as they head down the back straightaway going into the third corner. So far, it's a top 3 or top 2 that have broken away, plus Bruno DiGiacomo, remember, who's trying to stay on the lead lap. He is the last car 1 lap down. Breda Perez, I believe, is just a little ways behind. Yes, he is on the other end of the racetrack. But going back to it, Claire Phillips started off the year pretty consistently, holding onto the points lead for a little while, especially hanging on to right around top 5, top 10 in the point standings. But ever since then, qualifying and race results have just not been on her side, and she is definitely taken a huge hit in the points, but trying to look to turn her season around. And and try to get back into the top 10 in the point standings of how she opened up the year with. Nathan Stapleton just trying to get back to victory lane and also just try to, obviously try to climb his way back up through the point standings. A good run tonight, especially with the much needed bonus points, especially 5 bonus points for leading a lap and then the 10 bonus points for leading the most laps. That would be very, very, very crucial for somebody like Nathan Stapleton. But right now he's running in the 4th spot and he's doing a very nice job as of right now. But Tanner Parton and Abby Walker continuing to check out. Currently just 0.6 of a second ahead of Claire Phillips, who still sits in 3rd. But Abby Walker just buying her time, but not going to be patient for much longer because she wants this race lead. She'll go down to the inside of the 07 of Tanner Parton, side by side, down the back straightaway into turn 3. And if she hasn't collected those 5 bonus points, she definitely will now. New race leader, it is Abby Walker. Abby definitely also putting on a very good show. She's another driver that hasn't had the best of starts to her season and just hasn't had a lot of good runs at all whatsoever. But here tonight, definitely another good night here for Abby Walker here, as she took over the lead on lap 37. But Nathan Stapleton, just a little bit up ahead, managed to take 3rd away from Bobby McGuire. Here's another driver that's actually performing really well here tonight. He's currently 30th in the point standings, but definitely looking to try to get his season turned around. That's Aaron Abel in the 43. One of his cars, his other car of Skylar Taylor, who's currently running 9th in this race, has already visited victory lane at Las Vegas just back in March. But as for Aaron Abel, for his own team, Racing Motorsports, he would definitely love to put his number 43 in the winner's circle and get the very much needed bonus points and all the other extra bonus points and whatever other points that he needs in order to catapult himself maybe up inside of the top 15 in the standings. The top 5 right now, maybe he's going to probably lose this spot here to Claire Phillips as they head back down into turn 3. But a much needed run here tonight is going to be something that Aaron Abel will need in order to definitely get that. He's going to scrape the wall here coming off of turn 4 down the front straightaway, but he is going to have to give up that 5th position, to Claire Phillips entirely as they get around the number 54 of Sebastian Vaughn, who is going to go a lap down. But meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Parton has caught back up to Abby Walker, but is going to lose a little bit of ground here as they head back down the back stretch into the 3rd corner. Bruno Di Giacomo playing a little bit of spoiler to Nathan Stapleton's party as he goes down to the inside to try to get 1 spot closer to trying to get back on the lead lap. If you're just now tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we are currently going to be 43 laps complete here once they cross the stripe this time by. It is Abby Walker who leads the charge. Following is the 07 of Tanner Parton, who is 2nd, Bobby McGuire 3rd, Nathan Stapleton 4th, and now Aaron Abel finds himself back inside of the top 5. Then it's Claire Phillips in 6th, Andrew Miller 7th, Skylar Taylor 8th, Ray Atikian in 9th, and Russell Blaze completes the top 10. But we've only had 2 cautions that flew on lap 5 and lap 6, or lap 8 and lap, I want to say lap 15. But since then, we have been clean and green up to this point, coming around to complete 45 laps in this 125 lap main event here tonight. For the American Ethanol 400, race 9 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. After tonight, we'll be in the double digits for the first time ever in WRLA history. Take a look further back in the field. There's Russell Blaze in the 69. There was an interesting stat that was brought up during qualifying, is that the streak of this Durrani Racing entry of Russell Blaze finding himself in a great qualifying run, whether it be in the final round or just somewhere inside of the top 10 or top 12. Other than that, that streak came to an end here today when he started in the 28th position. But Russell Blaze, though, continuing to show how much speed he's had all year this year. Currently riding inside of this 10th position and doing a very nice job here in the Prime machine. Blaze is yet another driver that is still searching for his first Pepsi Cup Series win. His best bet could have been Fontana, but he finished second to, if I remember correctly, he finished second to his teammate Quid Moore, who went on to get his first WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win finally after being a part of the series within the last 8 years. So far, doing a very nice job here in this one. Let's focus back up at the front. So far, no changes inside of the top two. Bobby McGuire in third right now, trying to chase down Tanner Parton and Abby Walker. Nathan Stapleton being held up here by the 95 Bruno DiGiacomo, who's just trying to get his lap back. But another driver that's also performing really well here tonight, that is the 59 of Caleb Rose. Obviously, we can't say the same for Bruno DiGiacomo. Appalachia Motorsports this season, in their first outing in WRLA, has been a little bit sour, unfortunately. Both drivers outside of the top 30 in the point standings. Caleb Rose especially did not have a great start to the season and has just had very abysmal performances, unfortunately. But here he is tonight, riding just outside of the top 10 in the 13th position, as he's going to go by the 88 of Braden Perez. But nonetheless, riding very comfortably here in this 13th spot and can definitely capitalize on some very well-needed points in order to crack the top 30. So, attaboy for Caleb Rose and Appalachia Motorsports. They're definitely putting on a good show here tonight in the 13th position. Good amount of other drivers that were up towards the front of the field, they've started to fade back just a little bit. For example, take Naya Steidel, for instance. She muscled her way up inside of the top 10, but ever since then, she fell all the way back to 34th position. Probably might have just used up all the tires in that number 6 machine, but I definitely would not say she's out of this thing just yet. We are almost towards the halfway point, but at any given time, these drivers are going to have to come on down pit road. I'd say if a caution comes out between now and when the checker flag waves, I would not be one bit surprised to see every single driver come on down to pit road, get some 4 fresh Goodyear tires to make it the rest of the way. Because eventually, over time, these tires do wear out. Well, they are obviously going to wear out, but it definitely shows how important tire conservation is, especially at a place like Iowa Speedway and a short track. Down to the inside, for second goes Bobby McGuire on Tanner Parton, who now finds himself on that outside line. He's going to scrape the wall, maybe just a tad there. I wouldn't say it was a whole lot. But that's going to allow Abby Walker to check out just a little bit more, a third of a second over now new second place McGuire. As Parton now finds himself on the outside. That is a very good opportunity for Aaron Abel to capitalize on that one and move into the third position. Stapleton and Andrew Miller both waiting in the wings just in case if anything were to happen. So that way they can at least pick up one more spot. If that happens, Andrew Miller will find himself inside of the top 5. Coming around to complete 58 laps, or yes, 57. Now, yeah, no, I was right the first time. 58 laps here in the American Ethanol 400 for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. Race number 9. After today, there will be 14 races left in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series schedule. We still have a good amount of racing left to go here in the month of May. Next weekend, we'll be at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. First time ever we'll be going to that racetrack. Then it'll be the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. on May 24th. 200 laps down there, and then to end off the month, May 31st, we'll be at the Pocono Raceway, and that would conclude the summer shootout style points format that we're running currently. Which again, to recap for those that may not be aware, it's for the month of May, the bonus points are doubled. So it would be 5 bonus points for leading a lap, 10 bonus points for leading the most laps, and 20 for winning the race. This is all just for the month of May, but traditionally it's 1 point for leading a lap, 5 points for leading the most laps, and then 10 bonus points for winning the race, along with those 40 traditional points for finishing in first place. You'd be able to get a total of 56 points all together under the traditional points format, but for the month of May, 76. So that definitely is going to be a huge deficit for somebody who's towards the bottom of the point standings to capitalize on 100%. Abby Walker is one of those drivers that could definitely capitalize tonight. She definitely has a really great race car to do just that. Aaron Abel, same case for him, as he's currently running 3rd right now. Stapleton in 4th, another driver that could use a really good points night tonight. Doing a very nice job here, sitting in this 4th position. Now this is the Nathan Stapleton I was really looking forward to seeing at the start of the year. Just up towards the front of the field, running in top 5, top 10 for, standards. Maybe winning a race or two, kind of like the shades of 2020. Well, I believe that could have been Nathan Stapleton at his prime, but as of right now, I'd definitely say this is kind of the shades of Nathan Stapleton coming back into form, in WRLA form, that is. He's a very decorated driver in the NR field, but as for WRLA standards, this is definitely the Nathan Stapleton I was really wanting to see, and so far tonight, we're getting that Nathan Stapleton right here. We've also just passed the halfway mark here in the American Ethanol 400. 67 laps complete, 68 to go here at the Iowa Speedway. Your top 10 currently goes as follows here, just past the halfway mark. Abby Walker continues to lead the race. Bobby McGuire sitting in the 2nd position, then 3rd, that is Aaron Abel. Nathan Stapleton sits 4th, with Andrew Miller completing the top 5. Then it's Tanner Pardon in 6th, Ray Atiki in 7th, Claire Phillips 8th, Chase McClure 9th, and Caleb Rose rounding out the top 10. Rose showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight. And no, I'm not talking about Jerry Rose, because Jerry also showed up inside of the top 10 earlier in the race, but I'm talking about Caleb Rose. Again, no relation between those two. Take a look further in the back. There's Wyatt Walker in the 19. He's been riding consistently inside of the top 15, just knocking on the door of the top 10. He knows it's right there, but Wyatt's also a veteran in this one. You definitely want to save up your tires, and you definitely want to just try to save up your equipment, because the last thing that you want to do is burn up basically whatever grip is left in those tires, and whatever type of speed that you can build up with that equipment, especially in the longer runs. So I'd say Wyatt has definitely got a few tricks cooked up under his sleeve, at least tucked up in his sleeve, I meant to say, but you know what I mean. There's Zachary Taylor in the 85, another driver that we haven't talked too much about here in this race, currently showing up in the 13th spot. Right behind him, that's Roberto Crown Jr. Campbell Marsh, another driver who's just outside of the top 10 in the points standings, currently having himself a nice night tonight, riding in the 15th spot. see where points leader Kyle Craven is currently running. He's sitting in the 23rd position. Still some 7 spots ahead. Still some 7 spots ahead of Zachary Fitzwater, who's currently sitting in 30th. But as for Kyle Craven, not the best night tonight, but other than that, I'm pretty sure he might be able to keep his points gap on Zachary Fitzwater or whomever else may pop up in second in the point standings. I'd definitely say your best, the only other driver that could probably move up to second in the point standings, either that or take the points lead away, depending on how the rest of this race plays out, is Russell Blaze here in this 69, who could very well be in the perfect spot to do it if he plays his cards right. He's currently sitting in the 19th position as we currently speak. But pit stops could be lurking on the horizon line here very shortly. Could. I say that that's just the key word, is could, because for all I know, pit stops could wound up happening right around lap 90, 95, maybe lap 100 with 25 laps to go. So there's a lot of mystery here as we progress later into the race. So far, top 5 has not really changed. I think everybody at this point is kind of just gotten themselves into, like I said, a pretty good green flag rhythm until you get back over here. That's Terry Walker in the 48. Remember, he was involved in that lap 8 crash on the front straightaway, and he's trying to make up whatever lost ground that he had previously, as he's going for 18th on Wayne Lopez. He's got it at the line, but can he clear the 1? As they exit off of turn number 2. So far, he's had a very tough time doing just that, but looks like Lopez realizes the bigger picture and he's going to back off here and let Wayne Lopez have it. Jerry Rose, on the other hand, he's hungry for positions as of right now, so he just knocked the 69 of Russell Blaze outside of the top 10, but Blaze is going to want that 20th position back here as he wrestles his way down to the inside of Jerry Rose. Eric Monaco trying to take over what looks like the 22nd position from Kyle Craven. Emily Anderson waiting in the wings in the number 4 as they head off into turn number 2. But so far, lots of really great action here towards the back half of the pack. Kyle Craven currently now finds himself in a very troublesome spot here as he's trapped up on the outside. Definitely, obviously, as we've seen tonight, that's not the preferred place to be. But as that happens, obviously, that's gonna make it more and more likely for Kyle Craven to lose the points lead if he is not able to find a spot in line. So far, I think he's going to be able to do it now, as Ryan Little looks like he's going to give Craven some room to tuck in here and tuck right back in the 23rd spot. Checking up towards the front end of the field, looks like race leader Abby Walker just opened up a half a second advantage now over the 43 of Aaron Abel, who takes over the 2nd position. This is all thanks to the lap traffic, of course. Stapleton moves up to 3rd, and that kicks Bobby McGuire back to 4th, with Tanner Parton sitting in 5th. But how about this? Lap traffic is definitely changing up the complexion of, basically changing up the look of the top 10 as of right now. Just very, very slightly. But I wouldn't say it's anything that's gonna hinder anything as far as the racing product goes, unless if some other drivers get into one of the lap cars and it causes a caution. But if this race continues to play out green the rest of the way, I do not see that happening. Abby Walker continuing to lead the charge. Now opens up about a, well, it was a 2/3 of a second gap over Aaron Abel, and Nathan Stapleton just waiting in the wings here, just in case if anything were to happen. We also see on the other end of the top 10, Wyatt Walker appears in the inside in the 10th position, taking away that spot from Caleb Rose. Probably just used Braden Perez as a pick here, and it definitely worked out to Wyatt's favor. So now move the 19 back inside of the top 10, coming around to complete 89 laps here at the Iowa Speedway. But I would not be one bit surprised to see pit stops take place here very soon. Anything is bound to happen in one of these races. I mean, well, in a race like this where it does go clean and green, because remember at Nazareth we saw something similar where pit strategy played into the hands of Nia Steidel, and that's how she got her second career Pepsi Cup Series win and made history by not only becoming the first female driver to win back-to-back races, but the first driver ever in the history of WRLA to win 2 races in a row. So you see Phillips get around the 45 of Ray Atikian for the 6th spot as he's trapped up on the outside line. That'll definitely spell some bad news here, as he's going to lose 7th to Chase McClure. And possibly might lose 8th to Andrew Miller, maybe 9th to Wyatt Walker. That could be the golden ticket though for Caleb Rose to move back into the top 10 if Atikian is not able to hold the bottom, but so far it looks like he is going to be able to do just that. But as of right now, no changes inside of the top 5 since the lap traffic definitely came into effect a little bit ago, but I think we might end up seeing a change of hands here for the 10th position if Wyatt Walker messes up the exit of turn number 4, as we've seen with a lot of other drivers, do earlier in the race. And it looks like pit stops are beginning. That is Aaron Abel making his way down to pit road on lap 95. 31 laps of racing to go here at the Iowa Speedway. And I do believe the 18 of Abby Walker is going to stay out. Everybody else will stay out as well. But I don't see anybody else that's going to be making the election to come on down to pit road as of right now, but that'll probably change here in a small handful of laps. But now the question arises, did Aaron Abel jump the gun a little too soon? Did he pull the trigger a little too soon when it came down to pit stops? Because sometimes when you make a pit stop a little too early, it can definitely prove to be a little bit of bad news for you. I mean, sure, you do get fresher tires you do get the jump on pit stops on everybody else, but once everybody else pits, they're going to have fresher tires than you, and they're going to have a little bit more fuel to go to distance. I mean, obviously the tires and the fuel to go to distance, because at this point, everybody would be good to go if they were to pit right now. And Aaron Abel obviously knows that, so he's going to take full advantage of that. But it is still a concern, though, if he did jump the gun a little too soon when it comes to pit stops. But Walker, nonetheless, has a 1.1 second gap on Bobby McGuire, who sits in the 2nd position. But I would have to believe pit stops are looming in on the horizon line here very soon. And we almost had a crash right there on the front straightaway with Emily Anderson up against the outside wall and somebody else that might have made some contact with her. whom that may be, I'm not 100% sure. Now Ray Atikian makes his way down to pit road. And I believe, actually, I thought race leader Abby Walker would have made the move, but that is not the case. 25 laps to go here at the Iowa Speedway. And pit stops. Let's see if there's any other takers. Nathan Stapleton comes down. Same for Andrew Miller. Caleb Rose is going to elect to come on in. Same for Skylar Taylor. Alex Bonsignor comes in. And caution is out. Wait a minute. Yellow's out. Oh my goodness. That's going to throw a monkey wrench into everything, as there's going to be some drivers that will be trapped a lap down. Oh my goodness. The pits are open, so that will definitely mean everybody's going to come on down. At least the rest of the field's going to come on down to pit road, but oh my goodness. That was an interesting time for a caution to come out. Looks like a little bit of damage to the one of Wayne Lopez on the passenger side door of his race machine. But there was some trouble on the back straightaway for sure that definitely brought out the caution for the third time here tonight. And my, oh my, is it going to throw a monkey wrench into everything. So before we take a look at what happened on the back straightaway that brought out this third yellow flag, but now I got to figure out just exactly who's going to be the official race leader. I'm thinking it's going to be the 5 of Claire Phillips. More than likely. We'll just have to wait and see once they cross the line this time by. Other drivers a lap down or more, they are going to be making their way down into the pits. Noah Clifton has retired from the race, and it is the 5 of Claire Phillips who officially takes command of the race. Let's go back and take a look at what happened that caused the caution on the back straightaway that brought out our third yellow flag of the night here at the Iowa Speedway. I do believe. And that, yep, there it is. So one car might have gotten just a little bit too high here, and that was the 33 of Val Moscow. See here, coming off of turn 2. He just gets a little loose here and just hits the wall. Aaron Abel doesn't anticipate that and just gets into the left rear of Val Moscow's machine. That's what sends him around in front of the whole field. The best news is here, obviously, as you can see, everybody else was able to miss him. But that is what brought out our third caution flag of the night here at the Iowa Speedway. Let's go back and take a look at that in real time. Possibly could have also cut down a tire. Either that or was trying to react to other drivers that might have been coming down into the pits. I'm not 100% sure there, but it definitely looked like a tire might have been cut down on Val Moscow's machine. And that's probably what might have sent him in the wall. And Aaron Abel just was not expecting that whatsoever. So that's unfortunate there for Moscow as well as Aaron Abel, who were both in that little incident that brought out our third yellow flag of the night. And definitely is gonna throw a huge monkey wrench into how this race is gonna play out. What I also, again, I didn't even expect Noah Clifton to go behind the wall. Might have had an incident happen to him a little bit earlier in the race, but it's gonna be very interesting to see how the finish of this one plays out here as Claire Phillips stays out and inherits the race lead. Running in second is Chase McClure, trying to shut out the full-timers from going to victory lane for the second week in a row. Travis Crampton did that last week. Then it's Campbell Marsh sitting in third. Russell Blaze in fourth. Jerry Rose completing the top 5. Then it's Kyle Craven in sixth. Ryan Little seventh. How about this? McGuire Enterprises cars of Shania Hill and Bobby McGuire occupying 8th and 9th, and Abby Walker rounds out the top 10 here as we're getting ready to restart on lap 106. We've just taken one to go here on lap 105. Aaron Abel was one of those drivers that was trapped a lap down when he came down into the pits. There might have been there was definitely a good chunk of cars that got trapped a lap down once they made the move to pit road. Then again, there was probably some that might have gotten the jump. We're just gonna have to wait and see how the rest of this race is going to play out here with 20 laps to go here in the American Ethanol 400 here at the Iowa Speedway. Claire Phillips trying to go to victory lane for the first time in her Pepsi Cup Series career. Stayed out a little bit ago, and now she's going to lead the field back to the restart on lap 106. And she doesn't go. She might have missed a shift. She does not go, and neither does the 38 of Campbell Marsh. They ran out of gas. There is no way that just happened. Campbell Marsh is out of gas. Quentin Moore is out of fuel. And after all of that, that hands the race lead over to the 18 of Abby Walker. This played right back into her hands, and look who's back in the mix. That's Terry Walker. After having a bad start to his night, he wounds up back inside of the top 5 with a chance to win this thing. Multiple cars were stopped on the inside. Quentin Moore was still stopped on the apron, but he's going to teleport to pit road. But my, oh my, a good amount of cars that just did not top off on gas, did not get the jump whatsoever. Quentin Moore still sitting down on the apron in turn number 2. You better hope and pray that he doesn't back out onto the racetrack. We're still green as of right now. That was just messy. And it could have been a whole lot worse though, but thankfully it wasn't. That just got chaotic. But that also messed up the rest of the field. Holy cow. Little bit of a race going on over here. That's Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzy's made his way back inside of the top 10. But Wyatt Walker now starting to drop back a little bit in the 19 machine. A little bit of contact there as Miller bounces off the wall and bounces down into the 20 of Jordan Sumner. Sumner putting together a really good performance, currently running in the 17th position. Nia Steidel trying to make up all that lost ground that she gained earlier in the race. Remember, she started towards the back end of the field, muscled her way to the front, fell all the way to the back, and now she's trying to get back to the front, currently running in the 17th position. But focusing back up towards the front end of the field. It pretty much is going to come down to 4 drivers. Walker Family Motorsports, who has brought some very fast and very competitive pieces of equipment, currently leading the race. And then Appalachia Motorsports, Caleb Rose trying to turn his season around. Regardless of the result, it would definitely be amazing for Caleb Rose to pick up some very much needed points to get out of the top 30, of the top 35, I meant to say, or just crack the top 30 at least. For Tanner Parton, he's trying to get his second WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win of his career and first of the season, as well as first for Vision Motorsports. Abby Walker making her way down to the inside of Braden Perez. Make very quick work of him as Perez doing everything he can to stay up on the high side, try to stay out of the leader's way. Martin going to go on the attack here for third as they come off of turn number 2. Back into turn number 4. Abby Walker's going to see 10 fingers up in the air. 10 laps to go here at the Iowa Speedway. Pulling away just ever so slightly on Terry Walker. The gap increases by a half a second, and it's going to increase just a little bit more, maybe by 2/3 of a second once they cross the stripe this time by. Maybe Terry might have just pulled up a little bit. We'll see just as they cross the stripe this time by. Picked up 2 100ths on Abby Walker. And yellow's out. Wait a minute. Caution is out. Points leader Kyle Craven got caught up in it. Oh my goodness gracious. Wyatt Walker was involved. And he was upside down. I see a little bit of damage to the top end of his car. And there's Jordan Sumner coasting on the front straightaway. Heavily smashed is the Celsius machine, and she is gonna be done late in the going here at the Iowa Speedway. The complexion of this race has changed dramatically once again. This is going to get chaotic. We're inside of 10 laps to go, so that means lap cars do not line up on the inside line. So this is going to be a very interesting restart. Let's go back and see what happened that caused our 4th caution flag of the night. That's going to change everything here in this race. Wyatt Walker has taken his car to the garage area. He is done for the night. Unfortunately, he's not going to see the finish of this one, but he is going to be able to, well, at least he's not going to be able to take the checkered flag himself, but he will be able to watch one of his cars potentially win this race. But let's go back and take a look at what happened. And indeed, that was the case. That's exactly what I was imagining. So this is just a 3-wide scenario that Wyatt Walker unfortunately found himself in. There's Josiah Munsell all the way up at the top. Eric Monaco on the bottom. And Munsell just lifting a little bit more through the corners. Remember everybody's tires are still really, really cold. So it takes a few laps to get a little bit of heat into the tires in order to get more grip. But you see here the 19 of Walker gets into the left rear quarter panel of Josiah Munsell's race machine, comes down into the 22 of Alex Bonsignor, clips the 31 of Eric Monaco. But look at Walker right here, pounds the inside wall on the back straightaway. And then further up here, here's where Jordan Sumner gets involved. Zachary Taylor with nowhere to go. Same for Val Moscow. CG Holt gets caught up in this. But 5 cars at least make that 6 with the points leader getting involved in this one. Rogel Dorn just barely squeezing by with minimal damage to the right front fender of his car. But let's go back a little bit more and review what happened over here. Following along with Munsell. So then at this point, when these 2 cars come up on the racetrack, they block the racing line. McClure gets involved in that one. But that's just rather very unfortunate to see at least 5 cars get caught up in this one. And then the 6th being Kyle Craven, who tags the 20 of Jordan Sumner. But that is going to be a huge hit for our points leader, Kyle Craven. And he's definitely not going to have the points lead leaving here today. It more than likely will change hands back to Zachary Fitzwater after tonight, because Fitzy managed to get himself back into a good opportunity to try to capitalize on a top 10 finish. And that will be all that he needs to re-secure the points lead. That's just a hard hit there for Wyatt Walker into the driver's side door. And then this is all the pileup that happens over here in real time. Lots of hard hits, lots of major hits that are also going to be taken not just on the racetrack, but also in the point standings, as mentioned earlier, with Kyle Craven, who came into this race as the points leader, just 9 points over Zachary Fitzwater. But after tonight, that lead is going to change hands back to Zachary Fitzwater. If Fitzy is able to hang on and collect a top 10 finish. But that's what happened. That brought out our game-changing 4th caution flag of the night here at the Iowa Speedway. And this is going to absolutely just throw a monkey wrench into everything. So it's a little unknown on when exactly we're going to be going back to green. We might go back green on lap 121 and have ourselves a 5-lap shootout to the finish. Anything is possible here in the closing stages of the American Ethanol 400 here at the Iowa Speedway. But again, just to review, as there's definitely a good amount of distance between Abby and the pace car, and that was all because Jordan Sumner was still coasting on the apron, and unfortunately she wasn't able to make it back to the pit lane after missing it, so she had to teleport to pit road, and that's what's going to allow everybody else to catch back up to the pace car. So as the field works their way through turns 3 and 4, what a night it has been. It's not only been a fast night here at the Iowa Speedway, but it's definitely been an action-packed night, to say the least. This race has definitely gone by pretty quick. Maybe next year we'll definitely increase the laps a little bit so we can get some more action going. But for the action that we've had here tonight, it's definitely been nothing short of spectacular. 1 to go has been given. We are going to go back green on lap 121, so we will have 5 laps to go when we restart this race. Again, no cars that are a lap down or more line up on the inside, so it is going to be an all single file restart. Top 10 goes as follows: Abby Walker the leader, Terry Walker in 2nd, Caleb Rose in 3rd, Tanner Parton in 4th. Roberto Crown Jr. completes the top 5, followed by Bobby McGuire in 6th. Then in 7th is the 41 of Skylar Taylor. Rhea Teakin in 8th, Zachary Fitzwater 9th, Reagan Whitlock completing the top 10. 5 laps to go here in Iowa. Can Walker Family Motorsports close out the deal and win their first race of the season? Let's find out. Abby Walker brings them to the restart. 5 laps to go. Both drivers got a really good restart, but Terry's going to try to be the first one to pounce. Not going to be able to secure a good run there coming through turn number 2, so he's just going to have to stare straight at the back bumper of the 18, who continues to hold off all challenges as of right now. Caleb Rose waiting in the wings just in case if anything were to happen. Meanwhile, you look back here, everybody else is just trying to bob and weave and try to find their way around this number 88 of Brandon Perez. It's even worse back over here. They're 3 wide, all trying to get by Sebastian Vaughn. This whole field is stacked up here, and they're crashing. Steven Colonna around on the front straightaway. And the caution is out. Race is over. Abby Walker is going to be your winner. Holy cow. They come to the caution flag with 2 laps to go. That is going to be it. unless if the tires blow out or the engine blows up, Abby Walker is going to win this race. All she has to do is finish behind the pace car for one more lap. As the white flag flies, this has been some night here at the Iowa Speedway. Lots of great action. A good amount of green flag racing. A lot of drama and chaos to start out the night. And to end it as well. 5 caution flags. But at the end of the night, at the end of the day, I should say, it has been a Walker Family Motorsports kind of night. They swept the front row. CG Hall won the pole. Abby Walker started in second. But coming around through turns 3 and 4, Walker Family Motorsports started 1-2, and they're going to finish 1-2. With Abby Walker rounding her way through turn number 4. And she's going to do it. Walker Family Motorsports is finally going to go to victory lane, and Abby Walker will win the American Ethanol 400 here in Iowa. Finishing in second, that will be Terry Walker. Caleb Rose, a very much needed third place finish. Then Tanner Parton will finish in fourth. Bobby McGuire will complete the top 5. Then it's Skylar Taylor finishing in 6th. Then in 7th will be the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. Ray Atiki in 8th. Zachary Fitzwater 9th. He'll very much need that in order to re-secure the points lead. And Reagan Whitlock, a great run for her. She completes the top 10 and gets some very well-needed points towards the championship. Do apologize there. Had a little bit of a phlegm buildup, but what a night it has been. Walker Family Motorsports started 1-2, and they're going to finish 1-2. Abby Walker securing Walker Family Motorsports' first win in WRLA history. And Abby Walker secures her first WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win. Terry Walker close once again. He'll have to settle for second, but it's still a good points day nonetheless. 20 cars finished on the lead lap. Everybody else from 21st all the way down to 36th and also 39th. They all finished one lap down or more. Jordan Sumner, Wyatt Walker, Kyle Craven, Alexander Rowe, and Noah Clifton. Those drivers all retired from the race early in the going. Well, Jordan Sumner retired late in the race. Same for Wyatt Walker, as both of those drivers were involved in that lap. I do believe right around later in the race. Well, obviously that late race crash that triggered all the restarts. But nonetheless, let's go back and actually take a look and see what happened to Stephen Colon that brought out that brought out the final caution. I mean, we know that he definitely spun out, and that brought out the last caution of the night. But let's take a look at what happened. It was all because of a stack-up effect that wound up happening at the start finish line. The Emily Anderson just gets into the 25 after Cologne ended up bouncing off the outside wall, and that's what brought out our final caution of the night. That's a tough break for Stephen Cologne. It could have been on track for a good top 15 finish, but unfortunately, those hopes were dashed after he bounced off the outside wall. And again, a lot of that was because of the stack-up effect from everybody else being held up by Sebastian Vaughn. Because look at this. Cologne just getting held up. Nathan Stapleton also got held up. And that caused this 3-wide scenario. And just right here, Cologne bounces off the wall. Emily Anderson was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that right there is what's going to give Cologne a 27th place finish. I mean, he was a lap down regardless, but still probably would have loved to make it back to the checkered flag towards the front end of the field. Definitely had a good amount of speed in that race car nonetheless, but the team of the night, the team of the weekend, in very, very dominating fashion, that is Walker Family Motorsports, and Abby Walker, after starting in second, is going to go to victory lane here tonight at the Iowa Speedway, and she will definitely secure some very, very well-needed points coming into the race weekend, because if memory does serve me right, he did come. Abby Walker came into this race, I would believe 25th in the points standings. No, 27th in the points on the points charts. So this run is definitely going to be very, very well needed. And it's definitely going to be a very fun night. It's definitely going to be a fun night later on. But as for tonight, what a night it has been. Congratulations to Walker Family Motorsports on starting 1-2 and finishing in 1-2. And congratulations to Abby Walker on nabbing her first WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win of her career, and for Walker Family Motorsports. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are watching this live on Twitch, be sure to hit the follow button so that you do not miss a future stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you guys like this, be sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And here's something that's actually going to be pretty interesting, if I may say the least. We might as well go ahead and do a little bit of this action here while we are here, because I thought this would have been pretty interesting. We're going to try to see if we can get Bobby McGuire over here after a very well-needed top 5 finish here tonight. He was here a little bit ago, and then then he left. But we're going to try to see if we can bring him back. And we'll definitely try to see if we can get a word here with Wyatt as well. Get his thoughts from an owner's perspective of his team finally going to victory lane here tonight at the Iowa Speedway. We can definitely try to see if we can do it. Well, let's try to see if let's see if we can get Bobby in here first. Hold up. Maybe. Well, as we are possibly gonna get Bobby in here, we do have Wyatt Walker in here. Wyatt, I gotta ask you this. Unfortunately, you did get taken out later in the late stages of the race, but you definitely managed to watch one of your cars finish, well, 2 of your cars finish 1-2, especially for Abby Walker finally going to victory lane here and bringing your team their first win. I gotta ask, what does that mean for you as a team owner?
Sorry, I had to make sure my stuff was working. I'm really happy. I believe this is the second or third win for the team, and this is the first time getting both my sister Abby and my dad in the cars. Like, this would be the first. Like, this is good. I brought them in. This is a rookie season. They finished 1-2. I'm just really happy to see my cars. We needed this win as a team. Our team, besides the 48, we have been kind of struggling a little bit. The 19 was good in the beginning, then kind of fell off. The 48 started three. Sorry, I'm all flustered with the happiness with the team getting a first win this season. But this team, especially for the 18 who's been struggling hard this season, the beginning, seeing her get the first win for the team this season, I'm happy. Yes, it got taken out, and that was a hard hit, but get him next week, and let's see if we get 2 in a row for the team. I'm just happy for the 1-2.
Well, from one driver owner driver team to another that's also wound up having themselves a really good night here tonight. Of course, with McGuire Enterprises, not only first time this year where both the cars managed to finish the race, but also for Bobby, you managed to get your first top 5 of the season here at the Iowa Speedway. Take me through exactly everything that was going on in your head throughout the entire event.
First off, just want to, give a shout out to Walker Motorsports. They deserve that one. 1-2, great finish. Good for them. But, man, a great car all week. Shout out to Interstate Battery. Shout out McGuire Motorsports for putting together a great car. Man, that car was fast. I think if I would have had, if we didn't get that yellow with 5 to go, and then we didn't get a yellow to end the race, I think I could have caught up there, maybe podium, maybe top 3, maybe even, battle Walker Motorsports for 1 or 2. But, great car. Shout out to the team, and shout out to mechanics. Terry's especially. He worked a couple extra nights, some overtime, picked that up, get that car ready for this race. And man, I love that track. Fun track, and yeah.
Well, how about that, though, ladies and gentlemen? That definitely was a very, very topsy-turvy American Ethanol 400 here at the Iowa Speedway. Of course, big congratulations to McGuire Enterprises for securing a top 5 and also getting both of their cars into the race. And they're definitely going to have a little bit of momentum on their side as we go to North Wilkesboro next weekend for the running of the for inaugural running of that race. Qualifying will more than likely be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the race start time will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as for Walker Family Motorsports, huge congratulations to them as well for securing their first win on the season and of their career, for not just obviously Wyatt as an owner, but for Abby Walker as the race driver in her first full-time season as well. Man, this has just been one of those action-packed kind of nights. And ladies and gentlemen, I think this is where we definitely go ahead and sign off here. Again, join us next weekend at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Qualifying will be at 12 p.m. over on YouTube, and then we'll be back over here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch for the running of the 10th race of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series season at North Wilkesboro. Have yourselves a great night, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you guys next weekend at North Wilkesboro. Have a good one, y'all.